So we're out in Neckelsum, Germany, and we did have to get up at 4 AM to get here, but hey, it's a lovely day and there's no better car than this for keeping you awake. It's the new Audi RS7 and it's seriously fast. We'll find out just how quick in a minute, but to give you a brief idea, this thing could keep pace with a Ferrari F40 from 0 to 62. You could keep pace with an Audi R8 V10 and you could even beat a Mercedes SLS AMG. What's more, it's got a top speed of 189 miles an hour if you spec it correctly, and even then, that's still electronically limited.
It's all down to the RS7's thumping 4-litre V8. It's got 700 Nm of torque and 552 brake horsepower, and it will launch this car from 0 to 62 miles an hour in 3.9 seconds. The wheel arches are pretty understated, and the matte grey paint is the perfect colour for this car's under-the-radar looks. It's still a gorgeous shape, but if you're one for shouting about your car, you might want something a bit more in your face.
So we've been driving around now for 3-4 hours today in the RS7 and still can't really get over just how quick it is. It's on the same kind of level as Ferraris and Aston Martins, Lamborghinis. It does genuinely feel that fast, and there's no, I know it's a turbocharged engine, but there's no real turbo lag at all. If you're in the right gear and you put your foot down, you do just get this massive surge of acceleration, and it never seems to stop, and it doesn't really matter what speed you're doing either. So you can be going along at 70, for instance, and then you just put your foot down and instantly you get jerked back and you're doing 100 miles an hour straight away. So how about comfort then? Well, Audi's RS models have never really been the most comfortable cars in the world, and this one is better than a lot of past RS models, but it's still not too great. I should say actually this one is on the optional sport suspension, so that's steel springs rather than adaptive air suspension, and if you have it in dynamic, it feels unacceptably stiff. You wouldn't want to live with it like that. And in comfort, it's still stiff, but it's more of an acceptable kind of ride. I'd say probably if you are going to buy one of these, then the adaptive air suspension does everything you need. If you have that in comfort, it actually feels quite similar to a traditional Audi, and you can live with that every day. In terms of handling, you get absolutely loads of ability with this car, and it just grips and grips and finds traction where you absolutely wouldn't expect it to. So it means you can go into a bend on the brakes, you can accelerate as hard as you want out, and it will just find traction and just explode out of the corner. It's so fast and so capable. But then also you can say of it that it's a bit too clinical in its approach, so you can't really have as much fun as you would do in something like a CLS 63. With something like that, it feels more playful and more engaging. So in terms of driving on the road, yeah, it's really good, but you can have more fun in a CLS.
For all of its crazy performance, the RS7 does actually have a sensible side. With the air suspension fitted, it feels pretty good over long distances. And with double glazing as standard, the refinement is excellent. What's more, you can fit tall adults in the back seats, and the V8 engine has the ability to run on 4 cylinders if you're not using all of its performance. It's still not great, but 28.8 mpg sounds like a pretty reasonable number considering how fast this car is.
The Audi RS7 is a really desirable car, and if you actually look into it and start to do the sums a little bit, then it actually still makes sense. I mean, it's a really expensive car. It starts at £84,000, but that's £15,000 cheaper than a BMW M6 Gran Coupe, and it's also 25k cheaper than a Porsche Panamera Turbo. The biggest problem for the RS7 is the fact that the Mercedes CLS 63 AMG costs about the same price, and that car kind of feels a little bit more alive, it's a bit more playful, and it feels kind of more luxurious in the way it rides. That said, the RS7 is a great family car, and you can still embarrass a few Porsche 911 drivers away from the lights. And who could ever get bored of that?